Altcoins secretly building up. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, keeping technical analysis short and sweet as always. And the first one I want to bring up instead of Bitcoin this time is actually Perpetual Protocol. As we broke a downward trend line, had a major pump and major rejection due to the 200 EMA. We tested the downward trend line, got a little bit of support, CM Guppies turning green. And we are starting that push back up towards the 200 EMA. If we can get above that 200 EMA, close and hold for a little while, we can start seeing some major pumps. We see that it's 5. What's the all-time high? All-time high is like $20 for Perpetual Protocol. Currently 29 cents if you're looking to either scalp or get into this. Ideally, you want to be waiting for it to close above this previous high and above that 200 EMA, but it's getting really weak. We've tested it. We've broken downward trend lines multiple times, building higher lows, volumes picking up. Everything's looking pretty good for Perpetual Protocol. We're just really waiting on Bitcoin to take off so the rest of the market can move. This video is pretty much just going over what we're looking at, but really everything can be bleeding out until Bitcoin pushes up, and then the rest of the market will follow. Me personally, I was having an entry idea around this area when we were breaking this downward trend line, and we broke it right here, and we drew a further low, which still isn't meeting this previous low at 0.0724 for Cookie Dow, but it is lower. RSI is oversold. Essentially everything, as scary as it looks, we're just waiting on Bitcoin. Whoever was in Sapien, dude, I'm sorry. That's kind of long and drawn out, and you may be in the red. But, yeah, as I was saying, there's not a whole bunch of information to be putting in a bigger entry onto Sapien. Had that one little push up with the rest of the market, but there's no information to go off of. So you can potentially expect further lows, but with the market pulling back, maybe test this upward trend line. There's just not a lot of stuff to go off of on that. ZRX is not finishing out this head and shoulders. Is underneath the 200 EMA, essentially needs to hold above this black trend line. And if it can hold that, then we can expect a little bit more support and testing that 200 EMA yet again. GRT, toss this one in there, similar, almost identical to the other one. Let's do, what else? Compound. The other videos I make are definitely a lot more informative, but right now there's just nothing going on. Everybody's exhausted. Everybody just wants this to start pushing up, and give it about 3 more days, maybe a week, and we'll start seeing this bullish momentum kick in. So if you're thinking about selling, do not be stupid and sell at the absolute bottoms. Be buying up within these areas to take the ride up. Compound is only $40, all-time high of nearly 1,000. So definitely not a bad ROI. 618 being here at $51, which is pretty decent for that push up from where it's currently at. If we break below this, it's kind of hot in the water. The next down point is around 23. Got some support at 29 and 33, maybe 38. We essentially want to be holding above 38 to 40 before we start looking for an entry on Compound. If you have not entered within this area, it does move very fast, so you may see it being at 40 now, in 2 or 3 days back up at 47. Don't worry about it. Essentially, it needs to break this downward trend line and the 200 EMA for looking for the ultimate entry. If you're doing dollar cost averaging, definitely why not pick up some more Compound. QNT has been having a little bit more support than the rest of the market. We see this downward channel is clearly being held as support, and we had that bullish engulfing more or less. We want to see this close above this previous high ideally and start testing over the 200 EMA and downward trend line. When we get above both of those, we're looking up towards 131 for its next stop. CTSI, I think I talked about that on the other one. Jasmine, let's do LCX. And DOGE, LCX, is looking very healthy. It's holding that 200 EMA very nice and tight. It is working downwards. We could expect a push upwards. Potentially, that's a 77% increase. Let's see if we can drag that. 48. So if LCX breaks this downward trend line, we could potentially see it moving to around 24 cents from 13 cents. So pretty good money on that increase if you are entering LCX right here. I personally recommend waiting for it to close above that 200 EMA and ultimately ideally above this downward trend line, even if you miss that percentage in between. But LCX is looking better day by day. Doge, perfect entry opportunity. If you missed that entry at 21 cents, it's holding well on the 200 EMA. It is underneath the 24-cent mark, but I believe we'll get right past that very quickly and test newer highs for Dogecoin. And lastly, BCH. Oof. Yep, following the pattern though. Major pullback. We're trying to hold some support on that 2-1 line. 200 EMA is very close. We could start seeing a little bit more consolidation before pushing up to that 718. That's it for this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't. References are in the description below if you're trying to trade on MEXC, lowest trading fee platform. And yeah, good luck. Have fun with it. I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully there's movement. I'm really hoping there's movement. I feel like I'm talking about nothing.